Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today is Wednesday, February 16th, 2022. It is Hump Day. I am Salad Blue Sister, and this is my turn to talk. Welcome, Frankie. You are number one. Welcome, Juju. You are number two to my super fans. Okay, I'm going to get started today. Okay, so today we're going to talk about it is going to get into politics, y'all. So it's going to go there. The right versus left, or individual responsibility. So is it really the right versus the left, the Republicans, versus the Democrats, or is it that we all have an individual responsibility? Does a political party or group compel you to commit violence? Do they tell you how to treat your fellow man? Does a political party force you to misbehave? Okay? So when you look at this, I mean, seriously, I'm so to read what Gigi says. My phone just fell in the pool, so if I lose you, it's not true about the phones being waterproof. And I got my hair soaking wet because I had to dive in and get it in time. Juju, you and that phone, you have had more issues with that phone. Do you have pictures or a video? Something that we would be able to post to social media? You have had more problems with with that phone. Oh boy. But I'm sorry. I'm just seeing the visual of your phone going into the pool and you diving in. Oh boy. All right. So I'm sorry, y'all. All right. So again, so are we you know, are we following what a political party wants? Or is it something that you know, we each have a choice? We each have a choice on what we should or should not do. We each have a choice in terms of, knowing the difference between right and wrong, especially as adults. So when we choose to, commit violence, whatever, is it a party that's telling us to do that? Or is it you as an individual who has made that choice to do that? When you treat your fellow man, you know, in a disparaging way, um, is it because someone is telling you to do that? Or is it the fact that you just choose to treat people a certain way? Um, to call people a racial slur, or to, talk about them, in a way that just isn't nice. um, or more than not nice, just plain hateful. So, does a political party or a group tell you how to behave? Society today, all over the globe, is in disarray. You have marching in the streets. You have anarchy. You have people, you know, carrying guns who are, you know, going into movie theaters or festivals or, schools and what have you, shooting and killing people. You have people, you know, committing hate crimes because of where they're from. So is that a political party or group telling you to do this? Or is this your own choice? And when you hear things, um, said from certain people, should you go out and act on it? Should you go out and commit violence and mayhem because someone or some people told you to do this? So again, I look at it because I hear a lot of, the left is doing this, the right is doing this, and I am guilty of it, but in the end, um, what do you do? What do you do? Do we just sit back and just, let people, um, you know, treat people the way they want to? Or again, I come back to individual responsibility. When does it kick in? When are we responsible for our actions? Juju, and I see you are back. Is your phone okay, or maybe you're not back? I don't think you are back. Okay, you are. I don't see you in my panel here. I see you. Nope. Hmm. Okay. All right. For some reason, you aren't showing up, but I am glad you are back. So again, you know, um, you know, over the past year, there you are. You just popped up. Over the last year and a half, we've had a lot of left versus right, a lot of left versus right, a lot of right versus left. You know, and it doesn't seem like there's really many people who are just in between anymore. It doesn't seem like that there are people who are just willing to just sit back and just say enough is enough. And it seems like that the violence, not just in America, but again, I say across the globe, has just exploded. It's like, you can't walk down the street without somebody saying something nasty to you. Somebody, you know, saying some type of slur. You know, um, it has just gotten to the point where people have formed their own little groups. Some of them are just words, but some of these groups they go out and and they hurt people, or they want to hurt people. So again, I come back to welcome Bahram. So again, I come back to, when is it the responsibility of the person? Do we take individual responsibility for our actions? Because there has to be a middle of the road somewhere. It has to be. It just cannot be, right versus left, left versus right. you know, we have to be able to be accountable. And we can't play the blame game. Because again, in the end, if you go out and do something that isn't right, it's not that person that told you to go out and shoot somebody or go out and rape somebody or go out and kill someone. That's you as an individual who has done that. So when we set each other up for right versus left, left versus right, it's it isn't good because we're always blaming people. We're always blaming someone other than ourselves. So on that note, I've gone on my rant for about 10 minutes. I will open it up, and if you would like to join in, I will send some invites out. Juju, I know you're my silent friend, and Frankie, you always talk in the chat, so not a problem. So Bahram, welcome.
Hi. Sorry, I missed a lot of that rant. It sounded amazing because I really loved the last 5 minutes or whatever that I caught. I really loved it. But I'm actually shocked as well, and don't take this the wrong way, but that sounds like something that the opposition would say. Like you're obviously on the left, but that kind of mentality, that what you were saying there about taking full responsibility and not blaming it on basically groups is a right-leaning conservative view in general. The ones that spring to my mind is like whenever you hear of a shooting or a terrorist attack, you're almost waiting now to hear which side they voted for, who their heroes were. You always sometimes you hear about their manifestos that they left in their suicide notes, or and I think that is genuinely what you end up remembering that event as, is a white supremacist attack, or either of these labels. So I'm fully with you. I completely agree. We shouldn't be labeling these events as the group. I think generally leftists, and it's more a Marxist tactic, is to collectivize people, groups, and that's why you get identity politics and things, which is a leftist thing. But we are trying to get away from that. But I think that when last night when I said that to you at the end of the show, when I think you mentioned about we need to get away from left versus right, and I think you misquoted me. I wasn't meaning that it's the left's fault. I just meant that the left have views that can get us into trouble, in my opinion.
Well, hold on. Wait. Hold on for a second. Now I am left leaning. I am, however, I understand what you're saying, but this is where I come in and say both sides, left and right, can say things and have said things that can get us into trouble. So, and that's why I think that instead of the blame game, and I have done it, we've all done it. Instead of doing, the right versus left, the left versus right, that's why I come and say, at what point do we take responsibility for who's ever saying whatever? When we go out into society, we still have a responsibility to act a certain way. We know that we should not throw a brick through a window. We know that we should not, go into into a federal building and, do whatever. We know that we should act a certain way. So that's why I say, I think that we need to get away from, well, the left is doing this, but the right is also doing it. The right is doing it, and the left is also doing it. So I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're spot on, and that's why I've this, for the last year or so, I just can't do. I mean, I do indulge in these conversations because I enjoy them, but it also is quite, frustrating and stressful to have these same conversations about left, right all the time. And I've kind of chosen to go with philosophy more than anything. So maybe if we get into some examples tonight of things that you mean, or that I mean, we could analyze them and dissect them as like philosophies or mindsets, and then, you know it's maybe counter-reactive, but the reason I have my views is because I align with the right, because I believe they have morals. Their morals are more aligned with my morals. They use facts and statistics, whereas the left use empathy, and they have bigger hearts in general. And take that as a compliment. I That's how I see the left right paradigm. The left use emotions and feelings and their motherly, instincts, and the right use facts and statistics. And I just think that if I was president or prime minister or leader of a country or world, yeah, I know it's hard, and you have to have some empathy, but ultimately, I think it's best to run things on stats and facts. Like, go with your head and not your heart in those instances.
But at the same time, though, and I understand what you're saying. I think that when you when you make comments against the left, and even when the left makes comments against the right, we do have morals. We do have morals. I do have morals. But then I have to look at, well, I look at, and you want to start playing the blame game. Can you say, well, who's the more violent? Who's showing up at rallies with guns? And this is what I'm trying to get away from. This is where I'm saying, is there a middle ground here? Is there some where no matter what you think or believe, it's still an individual responsibility where we still have to, when we go out and do things, are we going, if our president told us, go out and I want you to kill every single person, are you going to do it because he told you to? Or are you going to think twice and say, well, wait, that's not right. I personally am not going to do that. So again, that's when I say, when does individual responsibility kick in on how we treat each other? If we're, if you want to, march and if you want to protest, you can either be that protester who stays peaceful, or you can be the one who goes wild and starts setting fires, or like I said, throwing bricks, or barging into a federal building. So again, the individual responsibility.
Mhm.
It can't just be the party. It has to be, or the left, the right. You as a person, you have to look at your own morals.
Mhm. I think a big part of that is, see, in America, it's so polarized, left versus right. It's like sports. It's like tribalism. Yeah, it's almost like here in the UK. I don't know about your guys' sports, but football's huge over here. And in the city where I live, Glasgow, there are two football teams who are just huge rivals. It's one of the biggest games in world football. Everyone all over the world watches it because it's usually a very feisty affair. Oh, sorry, Jill, I didn't catch that. um, yeah, it's Celtic versus Rangers, and they've been enemies, arch rivals for years. And it's almost like politics has gotten to that level through, again, it's your media. I've heard this said before on a different podcast by someone else. It's like, we in the UK feel sorry for the American people because you've got to put up with your media who are so polarizing, and it really gets, the extremist people, that's who they rely on for entertainment. Basically, that's how demoralized it's become. But over here, it's not as bad as that, and I think we are more relying on the individual responsibility that you're alluding to, whereas in America, it's almost as if anything you do is in the name of your chosen party. Um, but yeah, something needs to be done about it, and the only thing I can say is just by waking up and smelling the coffee and seeing that we are not the tools of the media. We need to break free from it and find some common ground. And again, I feel that what you've said so far is brilliant, but maybe taking it into an example where we can, I'm on the right, admittedly, you're on the left, and chill. Well, the only crazy lady, anyone that we can maybe get to the bottom of where we're going wrong, because ultimately I believe there is a right and a wrong on certain topics, maybe not them all, but we can maybe debate it out to where you see that morally and factually, statistically, the evidence, it's not, it's there is a right and wrong. Yeah.
Okay. Chill, you have the mic. Thank you for waiting patiently.
Hey y'all, what's happening?
Hey, Chill.
Um, um, I was just saying, uh, you mean soccer, not football, don't you, Byron?
Yeah,
I'll
we
just
say
give you a hard
football, you
time.
guys say soccer.
Yeah,
I
I'm just
know.
give you. I was just give you a hard time,
I
bro,
know.
because we're American and everything has to be what we say it is, right? Uh, but no, you mentioned something really quick about your programming. I think I tend to, if I never watch the news because I get disgusted. Because once again, like a lot of times the news, they're not even news. They're not journalists. They may be a super lawyer or a judge. Some of those judges on TV aren't even judges. They're not like they like it's such a facade. It's a news set with a personality anchoring the set. And
True.
people don't even understand this. This is the biggest misnomer about the CNNs, the the Fox News. These people aren't investigative journalists. Some of them aren't. Not that they're not smart, not that they don't know some of their stuff, but they're put there for a purpose to push an agenda, and on both sides. And so I don't left or right. I think my middle fingers to both because you're at the end of the day, it's nothing moral about it. I mean, typically I would be probably right because the right because initially how things started off, it was that was the hey pull yourself up by your bootstraps, work harder, no property, we're gonna take care of our own. But that's not how it works. That's not how it works. Ideology wise, the ideology of each party, I can get it, and but that's not how it works. It doesn't work like that. So it's the trickle down method, and typically people that are greedy, a lot of them are psychopaths. Some of these people are crazy. They're just not in jail. They're just really good at hiding they're crazy. These people are crazy. They're control freaks, narcissists, and they're running our country. You know what I mean? So I don't think neither one of them, like the Democrats, give the liberals just enough, especially the poor and middle class, just enough, so we can say, hey, we're on your side and tap dance for you a little bit, just a little bit. And then the other side says, "The hell with y'all. We're gonna do what we want to do for whoever we want to do for, and we're not gonna hide it." I'd rather have that than somebody just I'd rather let somebody speak plainly opposed to just acting like they're your friend and they hate your guts. So that's what we're faced with somebody that hates our guts or somebody that's just a fake friend, left and right. There you go.
So, what do you
That's it.
think about the individual responsibility when you're on either side and you behave a certain way? Are you blaming a group or a party, or do you take that responsibility?
An individual. What do you mean by and that party as far as a politician?
No, I mean I'm saying, okay. For instance, I'll take the 20 pro protests, when when people were lighting fires and what have you, people said Black Lives Matter. But was it Black Lives Matter, or was it just the fact that you had some idiots that were running around who chose to use that as an excuse to do whatever the hell they wanted?
Oh yeah, that's to the beginning of time. That's listen, if you know your history, that's happened ever since the beginning of time. That's how it all happens, from lynchings to riots to any kind. Like, it's always that one excite for an agenda, that one person that excites violence, or just to get somebody going. And this is the biggest problem. You got the right wing saying it was Antifa. You got the left wing saying it's the Trumpers. And nobody knows nothing. You know what I'm saying? Really, it probably is both of them to some degree. But I
This
listen
is
to both
where
of
I'm
them.
saying for individual responsibility. When does that kick in?
When you educate yourself, because there's a lot of people, there's smart idiots out here. I promise you, a bunch of bunches.
Oh, and I know a few.
It's like, but y'all can't be this stupid. Like, you can't be this stupid and smart at the same time. How do you pull it off? You're the eighth wonder of the world, you freaking idiot, and not in a good way. Like, it's just I don't get it. Like, anybody who looks at these and they take this stuff as Bible and don't know that there's an agenda, and and you act like it's one or two forces out there, the Dems, and like, it's everybody has an agenda. It may be multiple reasons why people are out there doing this ridiculous stuff. It could be just somebody just hate black people or white people, or what I'm saying, either whether it's the Trump riots at the Capitol, or it's the BLM protest. There's people with their own agendas. It could be 8 different agendas in that crowd. You know what I'm saying? Who's to say what? But you can file some paper and try to find maybe a couple that are involved. But it doesn't take much in those situations. It could just be I don't know, a Black Panther member, or a KKK member, or just a person that just hates society and is uncomfortable with themselves, and they're ready for the next, World War II. Let's go out and people are sit around and do this stuff all day. With pipe bombs in the basement and water for the next 30 years. Just people that are built like that. So you just never know. Either way, you just got to be smarter than the average bear. Educate yourself on how things work, and if you study your history, you study these type of things that happen. We're always from the outside looking in, so we don't never necessarily know until somebody gets caught red-handed or just fesses up. But you still got to. It's where smoke there's fire. You just got to be smarter than the average bear, I guess. And it don't take that much. It just takes effort, a bit.
Jill, you have just summed up so much. You have made so much sense, at least to me, you have. So thank you for that. Crazy lady, thank you for waiting patiently. You have the mic.
To me, I don't consider myself left wing or right wing or any of that. I think us being divided, and when did we stop holding people accountable for stuff? Think about it. There was a time when, like, if our senator or whatever got caught in a hotel room with drugs, check it out, they weren't a senator for very long afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that should be one of the questions that we should be asking. And number two, it should be, people need to start doing their job. Their job on the Hill and stuff is not to, govern our personal lives. Is like, their job is like, okay, we have a problem. How do we fix this problem for our country? And they come together and, do it, think on it, come up with a solution. That's their job. I think that, we need to stop making excuses for, every Tom, Dick, and Harry, and saying, you know what, that was wrong, and here's your punishment. And I, just give them a little slap on the wrist, because, there are people in power. People that are higher up should get, not just a slap. They need to get knocked out. Because, they're in that position. They should know better. And the news, well, that's another, one. There was a time when the news only reported the news, unbiased, here's the facts. take it as you will.
Well, all that changed when, cable news outlets, came out, all that changed, because I do remember, watching the news when I was younger. You heard news. You heard news. Now, you aren't. And that's across the board, both left and right. So again, I come back to individual responsibility, because I don't think it's just one party over another. I think that in the end, we all make choices. We all have choices. You may not necessarily like the choices that you have, but you have choices. You can either go this way or you can go that way. And I think you're right that when you're saying, that in the U.S., I don't know, for us compared to other parts of the world, it is crazy. We have more crime, we have more shooting, we have, we're divided. Like it is just ridiculous. It really is. So,
And just one quick thing about Crazy Lady. You meant, what we was talking about the media, and I didn't make this really quick point. I tend to watch BBC programming because of the unbiased nature. It's still a little bit left at sometimes, but for the most part, a different country reporting on our news is a little bit is more third party, more a little bit just reporting the news, and that's if I watch any kind of news, that's what I watch. And so,
public radio, because they give the Associated Press, bylines, and
they're just going to say what happened, and that's it. This is what happened. This is what happened today in the news. This is what happened. They're not going to try to sway or, tell you how to think or what to think. And those are the type of the news that, but still, even then, it's since the beginning of history, media has been used, whether it's newspapers, whether it's TV, to sway political gains, the people, to whatever agenda that is. And those people know that smart people know what they're doing. They take that agenda and they run with it. They have an agenda. But certain people, like the small people, like little people, and like me or my next door neighbor, that we got to be aware of that, because it's just, or some people that's just not. They think they're smart and they think they know everything, but they just don't. It's like, man, bro, you can't be this oblivious to certain aspects. So people who know the trick, they use it against you, and you gotta see that. I don't know. On a
Ba, you want to respond?
No, I think you guys have hit it nail on the head. It's the kind of stuff that I talk about a lot, is like the media and how they cherry pick stories. They link these stories to a political party for an agenda, and you have to ask yourself, like, for instance, like murders and crimes that go on, just stop and think, why are they highlighting that story? Because we all know that there are crimes happening every day, every minute of every day, murders, suicides, rapes. It's a horrible world we live in. But when they choose a story, you have to think about it from what agenda are they pushing here. And it's been the best tool that I've gained in the last 5 or 6 years, where you can see it, and it might be a small battle that they win with a story, or it might be leading to something further down the line, 5-10 years down the line. You'll think back to that small story that happened, and you'll say, well, if it wasn't for that happening, maybe we wouldn't be in the position we are now. So and that's why a lot of conspiracy theorists believe some of these stories are made up and crisis actors are used. But we won't go down that route tonight. But I'm just saying, for everyone that's listening, Chilwell, you're spot on. I did say in the chat, to back you up, like your CNNs and your Fox News, and we have the BBC here. They are they are news commentators. People like Rachel Maddow, Don Lemon, Anderson Cooper. They're not paid to tell the news. They are paid for their opinion on that news. And that's why people develop relationships with these people. Like, oh, who are you watching? Oh, I just love listening to Rachel Maddow right now. She's so good. She's so on point. You're you're listening to her views, and she is clearly leftist, so it is biased. And when people aren't awake to this stuff, and I don't mean awake as in the stuff that the conspiracy theory awake. I just mean, there's a lot of people out there that just go to work, come home, watch the TV. They don't realize how, I don't want to sound cliche, but like the matrix that we're in and how the world really works. So they're sitting taking in every word that Rachel Maddow is saying and accepting it as fact. And you're only hearing one side of that story. You could jump over to Fox News and hear the completely opposite side of the story, or at least a different view on that same story. But people don't, because they're hooked on these people like Don Lemon and Rachel Maddow. They've developed a liking for them, and it's who they prefer to listen to. But I actually think that is harmful. I'm not going to go as extreme to say it should be allowed or anything like that, but people need to realize there's two sides to every story. And like I said on the other night show, until you know both sides of each story, your opinion isn't your own. It's Rachel Maddow's opinion, not yours. It's hers, and it's probably the government's opinion that they want you to have. So, just a little, lesson. I don't want to sound condescending or that I'm a know-it-all, but it's to me, it's the best piece of advice I've learned in the 5 or 6 years, is to know that don't just take everything that comes out of the TV as fact. They could slap on an article in the newspaper. At the very end, they'll type the words "says expert" or start the article with "scientists have revealed" or "scientists have researched." That's all they need to do now. They don't need to name them. And I always laugh. I'm like, who are these experts? Who are these scientists? It's just a thing that they do. They're just throwing these two words at the end of an article, and knowing that most people haven't got the care in the world to go and fact check or look up the actual evidence. And it's brainwashing, it's indoctrination. So yeah, I'll pass the mic.
Okay, and now you said a mouthful, and I'm going to give you a rebuttal. There are two sides to every story. You have, and I am going to start with Fox News. Fox News is the most watched news station, at least in America. You have people like Laura Ingraham and Tucker Carlson who have highly rated shows, like Rachel Maddow, like Anderson Cooper, like Don Lemon. They also, are giving their opinion. They're not reporting news. So you can start off with people who are listening to them, who take everything that they say as truth. And again, there's two sides to every story. So am I going to listen to somebody like Tucker Carlson, who, or Laura Ingraham, or am I going to listen to Rachel Maddow or Don Lemon? Or am I going to listen to them and still come up with my own opinion, my own some people will repeat word for word what they heard. Or are you going to be that individual who is not a Stepford wife or Stepford whatever, and you're going to be able to take whatever they said, whether it's the left or the right, and come up with your own thought process? So both sides are harmful. And that's what, and I've said it on so many other shows, on both sides are wrong. You just can't keep saying one side, one side, one side, because the fact is it isn't like that. Both sides say things that are just not right. And we have to decide for ourselves what we want to think and how we're going to believe, instead of, being a parrot. And every time somebody says something, you literally repeat it word for word. Ba?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I honestly just thought about what I just said there, and you've every right to correct me. It must have sounded like I was hating on, all these leftist commentators, and it was only because I know their names. I know of Tucker Carlson. I should have added him in there. But you're completely right. I just should have, included some more right news presenter names. I actually don't know much. I only know of Tucker Carlson because obviously I do lean right, so I often see little snippets from what Don Lemon has Don. Is it Don Lemon or Don Lemon? I say Lemon,
Lemon,
Same.
Lemon. So,
lemon.
yeah. So I often see on my homepage people like Don Lemon and Rachel Maddow spouting their, stuff, and I actually don't know who is on Fox News. I couldn't tell you a single name. So my bad for that. You were very right to correct me. But I totally agree. That is what I was meaning. What people who watch the Fox News are exactly the same. They will end up being polarized, and that also is bad. It's wrong. That's everyone has probably heard me say I hate joining shows on Podbean or any other podcast out there that is Trump this, Trump, Trump, he's going to come back and save us. I just can't stand it. And that should, anyone that's listening should be like, what? That's crazy, because I do lean right. But I can't stand that echo chamber reality that people live in, where it's like they're only focused on listening to one side of the conversation. And that's why I crave these conversations. And I'm so happy that I've met you and Chilwell and everyone that leans left. And it's why I crave these conversations, because there's nothing worse than sitting in a podcast with people who are just cheerleading for everything you say and there's no pushback. You're not challenging yourself. So to me, it's not for me.
And that's why you need, when people do push back, you're able to have conversations with people who, when they push back, they're mature enough to handle it. And that's, I had a show about this a couple of months ago, being mature enough to handle any conversation that is out there, because we have to be able to talk about it in order to move forward. Chill, you have the mic.
Yeah, so absolutely invite varying opinions. Sometimes it takes a strong person though to sit in a room with a bunch of people who oppose them and be able to defend themselves without feeling attacked, number one, and then number two, just being able to intelligently do it. So that's why you got to kind of be prepared, kind of be just you gotta understand the room. Some people just want to be right, opposed to being. Some people want to be heard. Some people want to be right. You know what I'm saying? So, typically, I might come off as I want to be right, but I have to a lot of times stop people and let them, hey, I just want to understand where I'm coming from. You can make your own conclusions. When you start having people around you that like have that has to be right, they're just trying to sway you to be right. It's always a problem, and you just look out for those type of things. And I feel like that's what the left or right is. I don't lean left or right. I don't care for neither one of them. When I tell you that, I don't care for neither one. Like I feel what's right in general, makes sense in general. I'm going with that. You know what I'm saying? When I vote for what's good for the country, not necessarily what's good for me. But everybody says some people will say that's stupid. I'm here to vote. I want to hear what's best for me. The hell with y'all. Hell with y'all.
At least you are
That's
voting.
understandable. That's understandable. I mean, even then, somebody I can say, even with that, it can be helpful. It has never done too much. There's an argument to be had because I can get too. But all I like to have is a person that can intelligently reflect that in their own words, in their own brain, that can intelligently reflect that. And that is a lot that what happens. I agree with Barram. They get on these shows, they listen to them, and they regurgitate just the silliness that's coming out of somebody else's mouth, opposed to being able to formulate your own opinion. Now, I'm not saying you can't listen to other people to help do that, but being able to go research and have your own thoughts is always a good thing. A telltale sign is for an agenda is when they get on TV and they start attacking a person's character or anything that's other than what the actual news is. George, oh, he was using a $100 bill, fake one. He was a crackhead. That and they start, and that's the telltale sign when I cut the TV off and stop listening to other people because they have an agenda. Because they don't went to a whole other rabbit hole that has nothing to do with has nothing to do with anything. I'm like, so it's like when they start doing stuff like that, and that's just an example. It's just I know they start attacking a person's character. Oh, this is something other than just news. This is something else now, and you got to be able to identify that type of stuff, and then kind of just be like I said, smarter than the average bear to some degree, especially when you care enough. Some people just don't care enough though, so I understand that too.
All right, Charlotte, Crazy Lady, before I pass the mic to you, I just want to read something that I'm sure all of you all are familiar with. The lyrics to Imagine. I'm not going to read them all. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us, only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no country. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will be as one. So, that may sound kind of hokey to some people, but I listen to this song a lot. And every time I listen to it, it kind of brings tears to my eyes, and in fact it does, because we're nowhere near that. We never have been as a society, as human beings. We have truly just screwed up. So, I think all of you guys that have said whatever you guys have said, I think you're all right. But again, I come back to, as an individual, where's chill, we were talking about this yesterday. Where's that line? Where is that line? When do we stop? When do we, stop, doing the blame game and whatever. And like Chill said, even though I do lean left and I usually vote left because I think that's what's best, but is it the best choice? No, it isn't. I don't think we have choices anymore. I think the people who are out there, I mean, they're just bad. So what do we do? So on that note, Crazy Lady, you have the mic.
Say enough is enough and take him out of power.
But then we end up
I'm
with
the
somebody else who's just as messed up.
I'm a big one. I think that the American society as a whole has lowered their standards. So what happens when you lower your standards? You lower yourself.
Well, true. Very good point.
Yeah, we need to, I don't know. People need to stop blaming, this, that, and everything, because check it out. You are only responsible for what you do. Can't blame anybody else. No one made anybody else make words come out of your mouth. Only your vocal cords, and I think people need to be held accountable for what they say and what they do. End of story. Across the plains, not just, June and Bob over here, but everyone, every Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Okay. Shy Lady, welcome. Thank you for waiting patiently.
Hey, very powerful words. That song has always been a deep song, in my opinion. I just see this world as very imperfect. I don't think it's ever going to be a world where everybody's in agreement. There are people in their own families who don't get along. Brothers and sisters, husbands and wives, the divorce rate is probably at an all-time high. It's never going to be a good thing. I think we all just have to live in the moment, each day at a time. Unfortunately, our politics are just trash. Lots of bickering and fighting. It's either either you're going to be on the left or you're going to be on the right. Even though my personal opinion, I'm like, chill. I'm not really either one of them. I do think some of the viewpoints of the Republicans, some of the things that they say might be right in terms of abortion and things like that. But the left, I don't agree with all of those their issues and stances. So I kind of don't belong to either one. But I do when I do vote, I tend to vote more on the Democratic side. When I do vote, I vote for Democrats, and it's because they usually, I guess you could say, in my opinion, they're usually the lesser of the two evils. That's just my opinion.
Okay, now, Shy Lady, what do you think about individual responsibility? Where if you're a member of a political party or group, are they telling you to go and do things that you shouldn't, to misbehave?
Definitely don't agree with that. Definitely not. No.
So I'm sorry, you don't agree with it with individual
I don't believe. Go say it again.
So you're saying that you don't believe in individual responsibility, or put it like this. Do you believe that if a political group or a political party told you to go and do something, that you as an individual have the responsibility to decide if it's the right or wrong thing to do?
I would never do anything religious wise. If a pastor said, I think you should do this or that, I would never ever do anything that compromised my beliefs. I don't care who it is. No one can tell me to do something if it's against my beliefs.
Okay. All right. Okay. Crucible Man, welcome. You have something you want to add?
Yeah, just real quick. I joined late, so I don't want to cover old territory, but just what I've picked up on the last 10 minutes here is, and I agree to an extent, is there's no difference between the parties. I'm paraphrasing. They're equally bad, and there's a great degree of truth to that. But to say the parties there's no difference between the parties, you're just not paying attention. I'm an old man, and I can never remember a time in my lifetime where the parties were so disparate in terms of what they advocate for. So, when we get caught up with personalities, we get caught up with individual politicians, and we choose to focus on that instead of policies. Policies are boring. Policies take time to immerse yourself, and you've got to cover the details. You've got to learn. I'm not saying like a politician does, but you've got to spend some time doing some homework. And most people don't want to do that. It's much easier to focus on a personality and say, I hate that party because of this person. But when you go to the data and you go to the statistics, and you see the difference in policies and how what kind of difference it can make in lives of people for whom policies have not worked for decades. So there are clear differences between the parties. And I think if we chose to focus on the data and the empirical information that says this party advocates for this and this party advocates for that, pick whatever lane you want. But to say there's no difference between the parties, I find that to be shocking to me.
Well, first of all, when you say there's no difference between the parties, I think, for most people, at least for myself, I'm talking about how corrupt they are. And in terms of policies, one party may have a better policy. One party may have a policy that isn't that great. But at the same time, that party who people may think have the better policy, they may not, they may do things or pass laws that are not good for other groups. They may do things that are not that other people may not feel are fair, whatever. So, again, like Shy Lady said, in terms of just America and the parties that we have, it is trash. Because it is the blame game. This person's talking about this person. This person's I'm talking about this person. And again, I think both sides may have good policies. Both sides may have bad policies. But at the same time, I'm also going to look at the party who is going to do something that's not going to hurt me and who I am, or the group that I be or the group that I belong to. Crucible Man, you want to rebut or you want to comment?
Yeah, I agree with that. To the extent that there's corruption in the blame game, I used to be a huge fan of politics, and I've turned off about 75% of what I used to watch or read. I'm just so sick and tired of it. But if you take somebody, we were talking about Donald Trump, and I believe Donald Trump did a lot of damage to this country in ways that are probably still being discovered. On the other hand, there's an old saying that I think has a lot of merit to it. You can tell an awful lot about what people believe, not so much by what they talk about, but what they don't talk about. And for 4 years, we heard nothing about Donald Trump is an egomaniac. He's an asshole. He's this, he's that. And I agree 100% with all of that stuff. I voted for him holding my nose. But what nobody talks about is the policies that he put in place. They may not work for everybody. No policy does, but they helped African Americans, they helped women, they helped Hispanics in ways that those groups haven't been helped in decades. If you were so inclined and you didn't want to find out about policies, you would think Donald Trump had the worst policies for every individual in this country, in the history of this country. And the exact opposite is true. I'm not here to advocate for Donald Trump at all. I'm just saying it takes a little bit of digging. You have to care about the issues, not just say you do, but you actually have to care about them, because there are policies that help groups of people, and there are policies that don't help them. And you never hear about the policies that help those groups of people, because it's damning with it's pointing out the obvious, and you cannot give Donald Trump any credit for anything. So I'm willing to play fair on these things, but if you're going to play fair, you have to talk about everything. You can't just focus on the negative. And the negative is Donald Trump's personality. I'll agree with that 100%. And if he runs again, I will sit the election out. I will not vote for anybody. But again, it goes back to what I said. You never hear anybody discussing the individual merits of any of his policies. You only hear about his personality.
Okay, Chill. Before you jump in, I disagree with in terms, and I don't want to get into this whole Trump thing, but again, for me, I'm not going to vote for someone who makes disparaging comments about my race, period. So I'm trying to go around the room, but Chill, you're kind of taking me off of my whatever, but you have the mic.
Now that is awesome. You said that, because that is the always an argument. Do I vote for somebody that's gonna do for me, or do I vote for somebody that's gonna do for me and basically hate me, or just like you say, make disparaging remarks, or somebody that doesn't, but treats me like crap on the back end. And so that's the argument a lot of people had, and with Trump for this last election. Is like, yeah, he saved the HBCUs. Yes, he had the highest employment rate for African American and since whenever, and so there were some good things that I understand what Crucible Man is saying. But then some black folks like, you know what, I'm not about to sit up here and watch you just call me what you want, but then throw me a bone.
Okay. Can I and can I stop you there, because you've made a good point. It's like, yeah, you may have done this for us, but yet he couldn't get that group of people to like vote for him, because you're still talking about us like like a dog.
You're throwing us a bone, so you can sway a little bit that you need to get the vote. So it's all a game, right? So that's just a preference. It's not a wrong or right. It's just, I don't feel like that's really a preference. It may be a issue of like you said, I'm not about to do that. But for me, I'm opposite. I don't care what you say or do, as long as you treat me fairly or doing what doing the service you need to do. I treating me just like everybody else in reference to your outcomes and policies. That's perfectly fine. But that's another story. That's a whole nother
Yeah,
thing within itself.
and I honestly did not want to get into any
Yeah,
names
yeah,
or
yeah,
anything
yeah,
like
yeah,
that. I did
yeah.
not
I
want to
got you.
bring
I
in
got you.
Trump
I
and
got you.
whatever.
I got you. I got you.
No, I totally
But
did not want to do that. But I mean, but
but True Superman's on spot on. Though he's spot on. He's a maniac. I mean, the things he was saying, he's spot on. Like it's that. That's the 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 craziness of Trump or just whoever. So yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring it, but that's the good point that y'all had. What that was is how the country was. You know what I'm saying? In general, Crucible Man and how your view is just crazy. A true reflection of how it really is. So, but in general, to get to the two parties, somebody mentioned the lesser evils, and I was going to actually mention that, and that's one of my biggest pet peeves of forever. Like, do I want to die? I want to jump out the plane, or I want to jump off a mountain rock cliff? Like, it's not a lesser evil, and I think that's the biggest trick of everything. It's not a lesser evil. It's the same evil and different kind of evil, and that's what I think I was trying to say. Crucible Man, it wasn't necessarily they were the same, but Solid Blue hit it right on the head. It's the same type of corruption, the same kind of agendas. They don't have your best interest at heart. So that's what I meant by the same. Because you're right. Obviously, they're different. I mean, it's not like we're dumb enough to think that you know, I don't know, Clinton and Bush is the same person, of course, but they both made policies that were damning. And then some of them were good, but it's just as a people, what we have to do is be what the change we want to see. Educate ourselves and just disseminate the education, whether people want to hear it or not. Just be able to at least elaborate on it as much as you can, and just be the change you want to see. That's where it starts. You know what I mean? And be active. This is a start. Shows like this is a start. Be active, educate yourselves, and then take another further step in your voting booth, or if you're not voting, you know what I'm saying. Whatever the case may be, because for instance, a lot of liberals on Ice Cube because he met with whoever the presidents, but his whole philosophy was like, I agree with, don't vote. If we just don't vote for nobody, then what? Somebody gonna start doing something for us. We might be out of it 1 to 4 years, but that next 4 years, guess what? They're gonna be groveling at our feet. So that's what his thought process was, and they gave him a lot of flack from both sides to some degree.
but
So,
okay,
but it's just a philosophy. I mean, it's not a wrong or right. It's just a way to get things done. So I'm not saying I'm totally disagreeing with him, but I'm not saying or agreeing or disagree. But I can see it. I can see what he's saying. So those are things. It's active too. It's been active more than just sitting around and complaining. So
Okay, Shy Lady, I know you want to say something, but I really want to keep my my process going here. But Bahram, I'm going to give you the mic, and then I'm going to say something. So, Bahram, what do you want to say?
No, I'd love to have the Trump conversation one day, and tonight's obviously not the night. I don't want to force that conversation on any people in here, but ultimately, Crucible Man, I think is spot on. Other than everyone knows, I'm black pilled. I see through these people. They're all actors, and if we ever get to have that conversation one day, you will like the outcome of what I have found. It's not all, I may sound like I'm sticking up for Trump with the things that I'll say, but the end position is a good, you will like it. But I just think the hatred for that man is it's a diversion. It's the things that you guys hate him for is not the things that are important. And I'm not downplaying those things. I'm just saying that the media have shown you those things that he has said and done to distract you from the real shit that you should be hating him for. And that's why I can't do politics anymore. I lean right, so everyone will assume that I love Trump. And there was a point where I loved Trump. I watched all his speeches. I had goosebumps listening to his stuff. I wished he was the Prime Minister of the UK. But then one day, someone put something in front of me, and I literally could have cried. Like, I swear I had a lump in my throat because I felt that he was everything that the QAnon people believe, and I was never into QAnon. I never believed in the whole JFK coming back and Trump saving us from all that. I just liked what he was doing and the nationalism stuff, bringing back power to the people of the country, and putting more money in the pockets of the Latinos and the blacks and everyone. And that was all by design. He was literally playing a role for the Zionists. He was put in place. I will never vote, and I never have, and I never will vote, because our votes do not count. I'm sorry, guys, but the presidents and prime ministers and whatever Putin's called, these people are bred, literally born into families, and they are bred for those roles. Trump knew he was going to become president in 2016 when he was probably about 10, 15, 20 years old. And I'm not just saying that, guys. The evidence I could show you, if you're willing to let me go there one night with you, I can show you. But being distracted by grabber by the pussy, saying the MSN 13 gang or whatever they are all rapists and that, and cutting the footage to get you guys all riled up and hating him, is to demonize nationalism. They've done it with someone else that I cannot name for obvious reasons. I'm sure you guys all know, but nationalism is not what they want. They don't want people being wealthy and governing themselves. They want communism. They want to be in control of everything. And to finish off my rant, that song that you spoke the lyrics of, guys, go look up the lyrics of that song and think. Sit and look at them. I'm looking at them right now on my screen, and you tell me there is an ulterior meaning to that song. And it's not just, this isn't just me. That song is a communist song. The words that stand out a mile is, imagine there's no countries, it isn't hard to do, nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. It's communism. It's your guy Klaus Schwab. You will own nothing. There's a line here, something. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. It's communism, and they chose that song for a reason. It's plain as the nose in your face. But anyway, guys, I'll end my rant there and pass the mic.
Okay, so Bahram, I understand what you're saying, but to go to something that Chill said when when you said that you just wouldn't vote. For me personally, I can't take that stand. And again, this is just for me personally, because too many of our people went through too much shit in order to vote. We were lynched, we were raped, we were beaten. So I cannot, I can't disrespect the people who came before me, who have just done so many things, just tried so hard, and went through just so much crap, just so I can go into a voting booth to vote. So I cannot take that stance. And when I say the lesser of two evils, for me, it is the lesser of two evils, because both of them are evil. They are both evil, you know? So who is going to be best? And then in terms of, dealing with like Trump, and like I said, I cannot, yes, I am going to focus on things that not what the media is saying, but listening to his speeches and what comes out of his mouth, and you're going to disparage people that look like me. I don't care how much money you put in my pocket, you still hate me. So no, but unfortunately for people like us and Chill, I'm sorry, we are in a group. We have always been in this group that are always less than. And people may say, "Oh, we just want the best for everyone. Oh, we want this." But do you really? Because even some of the things that people who say that they, want the best for everybody, some of the things that they do and some of the things that they say, it's like, seriously? So I'm always going to respect my roots. I'm always going to respect where I come from. I mean, even just looking at my dad, like I said, I have people in my family who were lynched. And I'm talking about like great uncles or what have you. So I am going to go to that voting booth. And I am going to vote. I'm going to vote for the garbage man. Every single election that there is in my town or whatever, I vote. I'm not going to be that person who says, I'm just going to sit it out. Because I think that's a coward. I think the people who just sit it out, it's like, seriously? But we have choices. We may not like the choices, but we do have choices. So, Shy Lady, if you are still on, you have the mic.
I just want to say that I don't know if people really know that a lot of the things that Trump is getting credit for, Obama had already put those things in place before he left office. And he got in on the back end of a lot of stuff. Also, Trump was very against Black Lives Matter. We're not even going to talk about how many people died that were Black from the coronavirus because he would not act on it. And he was calling it the China flu. So anything that anybody tried to uh, defend Trump on his politics with Black people, it is not true. It is not true. And his agenda has never been really focused on minorities. He's been more about the businessman and making the smaller businesses better or richer or people with more money. But he's never really been a force for the so-called small people, the minorities. He's never really been that president. And like I said, anything that he has minutely done for any type of minority, it wipes out, it just obliterates anything based on the coronavirus numbers. So that's what I had to say.
Okay. I know this is a difficult conversation, and I know that a lot of people don't necessarily want to maybe hear it, whatever. But like Chill says, we need to have the conversation. And Shy Lady, I'm just going to just throw one more thing in there about Trump, because again, I wasn't going to talk about him, but he was brought up. But don't forget that this man is still 20 years later, still advocating for the execution of the Central Park Five, who spent time in jail, in prison for something that they were proven 100% that they didn't do. But yet this man is still trying to have them executed. No, I'm sorry. Like I said, I don't care how much money you put in my pocket. I cannot do it. I cannot do it. Crucible Man, you have the mic.
Yeah, I'm going to pass, Solid. This is getting a little bit too much into the Trump stuff, and I probably should just steer clear. So
Okay, that's fine. I was not the one that brought up Trump. Just want to make that clear. Okay, let's look at some of these comments. Friday Kind of Guy says, I don't know, I'm tired of YT politicians. I'm not sure what YT is. Using minority issues to get what they want and pull the race card to other YT. Can somebody? I'm sorry. I am getting old, so I don't know some of these acronyms. People and color people that don't think like they do, and then when they are in power, they don't do shit for minority groups. The Japanese got reparations. Welcome that guy. The Japanese got reparations. I've seen a good case for a lot of Black people getting reparations. YT equals white. Thank you. Or whitey. Okay. All right. White people. All right. Okay. I did not know that. Okay. And let me go up. I talk to people I hate on a regular basis. I don't want them dead or something. Could racism? Okay, Doom says, could racism be a mental defect? Racism is a byproduct of anxiety. The mind wants to fear aberrations. Okay, all right, and and once again, it's like I knew this conversation was going to go a certain way, and this is one of my other deep weeks that we're having, whatever. But again, you have to have the conversation, and sometimes it's uncomfortable, but you have to look at the comfort level of people through the decades, through the centuries? How many people have been uncomfortable because of things that have been done or things that have been said? So I don't mean to, scare anyone off or anything, but like, again, the conversation needs to be had, because if we don't have it, then we're never going to understand people. And everyone is not the same. Everyone is not treated the same. Some people have have privileges that other people don't. So whether you believe in this political party, whatever, it still comes down to individual responsibility on how we're going to behave. Whether you like a policy, whatever, it still comes down to individual responsibility. How are we going to treat people? How are we going to behave when we walk out of our front door? Are we going to be violent or are we not? Are we going to, I'm looking at the words, of Imagine. I will go back and look at them again, after the show. Right now, I'm not seeing what Balram is saying. But again, can we just live in a world where we're not hating on each other? Where we're not, saying this this side is better than the other? Is it possible? Has it ever been possible? When God created this earth, he knew what was going to happen. And once again, I say he needs to just blow it up, start over, because human beings, we have screwed it up. Bahram, you have the mic.
I don't like defending anyone, and I wasn't defending Trump. The only reason I do sound as if I'm defending these people is to kind of, again, I hate using words like these because it almost feels as if you guys must think I'm superior. But I want to like show you guys that your philosophy or your mindset behind your actions is not correct. Like, for instance, and now I don't know this, I'll just ask you guys a question, but you were saying, was it Chill Will or yourself was saying about you'll never vote for him because he hates black people in his comments. So I'll ask, like, did you guys vote for Biden? Did you guys vote for Hillary Clinton? Because you may or may not know that Joe Biden has said the N-word at least 2 or 3 times on camera in a court in Congress, and Hillary Clinton was the one that called black people predators. But yet somehow these people get a pass. So I'm saying to have, and it's not just in the political debate arena that you must use this, but stand by your words, stand by your morals. Don't bend for these people. These people are actors. They make mistakes on purpose, and years later they're exposed for it. And that's why I'll never defend anyone, but I only do it to kind of show you guys that your philosophy and your mindset going forward isn't true. It's not true to yourself. We even said this week on the show that I brought up that it's not these people that are running our world, and you all agreed with me. So why are you then voting for these people and then arguing about something that they did or said when you know it didn't come from them? Like, Trump didn't pass any laws in his presidency. It was big corporations and the people behind him that made him pass those laws. He is an actor. He's a literal actor that acted in that show, whatever it was, and he is learning his script. He has makeup artists. Melania wearing that coat was a huge one for me. The coat that says "I don't care." She was told to wear that coat. That is what these people are now, celebrity status. Not Nancy Pelosi, all these people, they're tweeting every day like they're celebrities. These people should be seen and not heard, and we're rising to it. We're being divided by them, and you need to stay true to your word. If you're going to slate a man, Donald Trump, which I hate the man. I hate him because of what I know now. It's not the things that you guys are arguing about, because they are distraction. They are division tactics. You should be hating him because he sold out America. He sold out, and every other one did too. Joe Biden, Barack Obama, George Bush, his dad, they're all related. They're literally Trump and Hillary are second or third cousins. You can look back at these things, and they're all related, and it's them against us, and we are falling into their traps. We are arguing with each other about stupid things when they are literally the puppets, and that, I get frustrated about these types of conversations. But I also, like, I think it's very hypocritical, and I might come across as a bit harsh here, but we need to have the conversation about race, but we also need to have the conversation about the distraction, and we can't even talk about Trump, but for a lot of people, and that was all by design. He was the trump card. His personality was perfect for his role. Someone who doesn't speak like a politician, very blunt, and he did that job 100% to perfection. He divided America more than it has ever been before, and for the people who have fallen into that trap, and I was one of them, and it's just so freeing. So, like I said at the start of my last rant, if you let me show you guys one day about his life, who his mother and father is, who funds him, all this stuff on him, he is an evil man. He's a bad person. But what I won't do is debate whether passing a law, and I agree a lot of things he did. The only one thing I can see, and now I might be corrected, but the only thing that I think he did wrong in his presidency was he passed anti-freedom of speech laws in campuses to do with the Jews. It was anti-Semitism laws in campuses, so where you can no longer criticize Jewish people in campuses. To me, that's the only thing he did wrong, unless someone else wants to pull up something. But that mindset is not, I don't love the man, I love the policies, and that's how I'll stay for the rest of my life. I will never put my faith in one person, whether it be a Hillary Clinton, a Joe Biden. These people are actors, but I will love policies, and I can debate policies and things all day long. So I think we need to get out of that, and we need to discuss certain topics, and get to the bottom of why one is right and one is wrong.
Okay. All right. I'm going to look at some of these comments. It's not about race, it's about politics. This is from Friday Kind of Guy. My prime minister was in blackface a few times because of the past, and I'm able to call other people, and is able to call other people racist. That guy says they are almost victims of their position. Class 1 says, listen how Biden describes Obama as a presidential candidate would have been said about a white politician. Everything is about race. White people say things like race is irrelevant. Wouldn't have said that. Joe Biden used racial slurs, and Juju says Joe Biden used racial slurs in referring to Black people during a Senate committee hearing in 1985. Fact checks false. And then Friday is going back to that guy. Okay, then explain why Justin Trudeau can do racist shit and get a pass, and then be able to call others racist without being called out for it if it's not about politics. Use your own ears. Good day. Okay, class 1 probe is gone. Okay. Explain how Joe Biden wrote the crime bill and was able to devastate the Black community and not be called a race predator and get away with it. Okay. And then Crucible Man said Biden called Black neighborhoods jungles. One thing that I do see that is common in all these is white people talking about Black people. So whether it's coming from the right, the left, I don't give people passes. I'm well aware of what Hillary Clinton did. I'm well aware of what Joe Biden did, what Clinton has said, what Bush has said, what Trump has said. I'm well aware of what people that I know personally have said. And it's all, it's like in your face, like, seriously? So again, I belong to a group of people where, for me, damned if I do, damned if I don't. I belong to a group of people where on both sides, we're getting dissed. I'm not giving anybody a pass, but I'm still going to vote. So am I going to vote for the person who's going to talk about me, under the under the blanket behind closed doors? Am I going to vote for the person who's just out there, just being blatant about it? So again, I understand what you're saying, Ba, and you're right. Are we talking out of both sides of our face? Maybe, but again, I'm sorry. I'm part of that group who I just can't win, and I never will. So, Chill, you have the mic.
Yeah, I got you. And so it's like I went around a couple times. So you know what? How about I just buy around? You're right to a lot of extent, to a huge extent. What he's saying is he's absolutely right, especially about how politics work. The Barack Obama of the world, he may be the richest president in U.S. history because he was just born into it. His stepfather, I forgot his name, Sorrel or whatever. Yeah, so he's a part of that society completely. So yeah, you got those things, and I preach that to the cows come home. Joe Biden's definitely more racist than Trump, unequivocally, without a doubt. Whether he shows it or not, he's on the record as being more racist than Trump because he passed the policies that damned a black whole culture for years to come. Not only the crime bill, but like I said, I mentioned the other day, the one rock 1 year rule. That was before the crime bill, and that imprisoned several black fathers for years that broke up families. Some of the welfare legislation that kept fathers out the home. It's man, listen. And these are Democrats making these. So that's why I'm saying to you, there's no such thing as a lesser evil when you actually look at it. Whether we want to argue to that, that's fine. But I don't want nobody. I don't want to support nobody that hates me in no kind of way. Now, what you're saying is definitely a symbolic thing. Like as far as voting, you're right. People die for us to vote. But if we found out we're dying for, I don't know what's the red, the blue pill in the Matrix. If it's something that's not real, then we still have to step back and say, you know what, we need to retrace our steps and see what we're fighting for. And that's the tailspin that Bahram is talking about. We so emotionally involved and invested in something opposed to stepping back, looking at it logically, like, you know what, whether this person is giving me what I need, I don't care what policy is, what they say. Because we do business every day with people that don't like us, that are racist, that are outwardly racist in some cases. If you look back historically, I always speak about Johnson & Johnson. They come from owning plantations and slavery tenfold. And we go and buy a Johnson & Johnson product probably every other day. And they've been outwardly racist for years. They may not, but if you go back, you could trace a lot of these long extending corporations. They can't stand black people. And we support them every day more than we support Trump or Biden. Because we put our money into them. Not only our votes, because they're the ones kind of like puppeteering these politicians, but that's the big picture I think Byron's trying to get people to see. And that's why I say I don't care about either one, because they're playing a different game, but it's still the same dangerous ass game that we need to learn up to get educated on and just delve into, because it ain't hard. I mean, you may not have to get the whole story, but it's definitely something going on. And they don't have our best interests at heart, period. And so that's the last thing they want us to do. They do want us bickering. So emotional over Trump that we can't. If he does throw us a limb, or a piece of meat, we don't get. I think that's what it is. They want us to be that way. So that's the division that creates the division. So I get what he's trying to say, and he's just trying to say bigger picture. And I think we should definitely look bigger picture, because the more that gets out there, the more we can change things. But we running a little rat race down here arguing over silly left or right stuff will definitely get us nowhere.
Shy lady, you have the mic.
Oh no, I don't have anything to say.
Okay. Crucible Man, you have the mic.
Yeah, at the risk of echoing what Bahram and Chill said, I couldn't agree more with them. This is about division. This is about control. I'm in my 60s now, and I've followed politics pretty closely my whole life, and I don't ever remember a time when it's ever been even close. And when you consider, big tech and social media, The regular media in general, I believe, is as corrupt as any institution in this country, and it's not even close. So I believe it is a distraction, as Bahram said. When we're all pulling on the same end of the same rope, it's a threat to the government. A harmonious populace is a threat to the government. They want us angry and distracted and divided so they can orchestrate whatever they're going to orchestrate behind the scenes. And, being from, I live in Illinois, and it's a deeply, deeply blue state, but I believe the Republicans in Illinois, even though they don't have any power, are every bit as corrupt as the Democrats. And it's all because they're feeding at the trough of public consumption. And the only way they can gain power is to have, like you guys have been saying, Bahram and Chill and you, Solid, have been saying, to get us bickering at each other and picking at each other and finding differences instead of similarities. So I don't care what political party you're from. I don't care what race you're from. We are pawns in this game being orchestrated by both sides. The media and big tech have their fingerprints all over it. And until we wake up and realize we have more in common than we have differences, and the enemy is not each other, the enemy is the government and the media, big tech, big corporations, they're the actual enemy.
Okay, I'm gonna read some of these comments. Bahram says, I knew Biden was the next president. And I know the next one, Trump again, it's predetermined. Juju says, that guy fact checked, did Joe Biden say the N-word during a recent speech? Checkyourfacts.com. Via Check Your Facts. Doomsday is responding to Crucible Man. I'm assuming you're agreeing with him. And that guy says the media is more interested in, is it interesting than it's true? Thank you everyone for liking the show. Crucible Man has just gave a thumbs up to Juster for agreeing with him. I've heard things on today's show from various people that, I'll think about it. But one thing that I still come back down to is me as a voter, no matter if I vote, and I have voted right before. I have voted, right several times. But the bottom line is, like Chill says, they don't like me. They don't. So you can do this, kumbaya about, we all have more in common. No, we don't. And we don't. It's nice to say, and it's nice for me to, recite lyrics from Imagine, but we are divided. We've always been a divided country. And we became extremely divided, within the last 4 or 5 years. We have. How do we fix it? I don't know. I had a guest on the show who asked me that probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago. How do we fix it? I don't know. Is it fixable? The only way I see we fix it is just, again, I go back to God just blowing us all up, because I don't think it is fixable. So I don't know. Bahram, you have the mic before we start wrapping this up. Do you have anything else you want to say?
Just you're spot on again. Just how do we fix it? And for me, non-compliance is key. If you don't, if you don't agree with something the government does, to just don't comply. I know we don't have to. That doesn't mean break laws or anything like that. Stay on the right side of the law. Don't get into trouble. But ultimately, we are free people, and it's within our power. A lot of these things rely on our consent, and I'm not just talking about what's going on in the world today, but giving these people, media, time, likes and shares and listening time is only playing into their hands and their agenda. And one thing I was going to say is, I think the world's worst kept secret is the whole, the end goal. And I'm sure everyone here, I've at least heard once say, like, the end goal is communism in a one world government. And I have a pretty good idea what that will look like. I'm not 100% sure, but I do have a good idea. So for me, it's like retracing the steps. It's like, I know that in, say, maybe let's say it was 10 years time, that the world's going to look like, a communist world with one government, which I believe could be the UN, and they're giving out orders. And how would they get to that point? Well, when I see issues happening on a daily basis and dividing us, I see that and it breaks my heart. And it having the talk that we've just had tonight, it's really passionate for me, and that's that's probably the most passionate I've been on the show, because it's up to us. We need to be closer together, and it means exposing the evil. So back to the left right dynamic. A lot of these policies, and again, I won't say left or right, but a lot of these policies and talking points and things are playing into that end goal, that one world government, no religion, or a one world religion, a lot of these things. So when I see them and I see people arguing for them, it's hard. So I'm not making a good job of explaining myself here, but listen, I go into right-wing Podbean podcasts and I say the exact same things as I said here tonight. I slate Trump and I bring him up, and I've been banned from the most right-wing Podbean show on here for saying these things. So it's not, I'm not defending the man. I'm just saying we need to wake up and stop arguing over policies that these people put out and promote, being together more. And yeah, that was tough. But sorry guys for if I've offended anyone, and thanks again for giving me the time, and I love you all, and we'll speak to you soon. Thanks.
Joe, you have the mic. Thank you, Bahram. You there, Joe? Okay, calling Jill. Do you want to say anything? Okay, shy lady?
Oh.
Chris Woman, you have the mic.
Yeah, I guess to try to answer your question, where do we go from here, or how do we fix it? I think you kind of answered indirectly. You kind of answered your own question when I said, in Bahram kind of echoed it. We do have to start looking at the bigger picture. We do have to start looking at things we agree on versus things that we disagree on. And so I think the only way we have a possibility of changing it, and I think those prospects are dim, is we need to change the way we think. You had made a comment to something that I said, and you said this kumbaya, we're not the same. We're not, so if you're going to continue to indulge that thinking, nothing will ever change. So we only change things when we start to think about it differently. When we think about it differently, we might come up with different solutions that we didn't come up with before, or different ways of looking at things. So if we're going to continue to perpetuate our old thoughts and say, well, no, that can't be, or no, that's not, then we're going to keep getting what we have, which from what I can tell is wholly unacceptable. So let's pay attention. Let's put down our phones. Let's listen more than we talk. Let's listen to hear and not to reply. And it's going to be a long, hard slog. I'm not a Pollyanna, and I don't believe in waving magic wands. But if we continue to employ the same thinking we have in the past, there's absolutely no reason to believe anything will change.
All right, Jill, you have the mic.
Check 1, 2. Okay, cool. I'm sorry, y'all. I was driving, so I got a little bit caught up. But this conversation, although it can be hard, it makes me smile. These are conversations that need to be had, and anybody who has the wherewithal to sit there and listen through it, you get applause from me, for real, because it's just a hard subject, and we're gonna vary. My thing is that when that happens, that you just don't give up on each other. up on people, and respect their viewpoints, whether you agree with them or not, and know that their intent is for me, the intent of that, their personal intent is more than anything, just to stick there, and that's a sign of love as well. You know what I mean? To go through something like that, because it's hard, especially when it's varying opinions on things like this. So, just keep that, like you said, try to listen a little bit more than you speak, and be prepared for those conversations mentally, because you have to be. But stick in there, y'all, because these are good conversations, man. We got to keep having them. We got to step away to shake ourselves off, and come back tomorrow and have a similar topic, maybe lighthearted topic, but just to hang in there with each other. And that's the awesome part, because it's very opinions. We all put to the test to educate ourselves, to see more, to open up more. Just don't. My thing is, just don't. I hope don't get off putting for people. You know what I'm saying? Because one person may think this other place. You got to appreciate people for who they are. The good and the bads. That's what I started when I started learning that. Appreciate the good and the bad in people, because you can't have the yin without the yang. Appreciate people for being who they are, and learn them, and take what you can from it. You can bring certain people closer. Other people have to stay far because of your maybe morals, or however roll. You don't roll with them like that. That's fine, but keep it open there, and I think Crucible Man is right. We gotta look at our similarities, because we all know our differences. We gotta value our differences. Don't ignore them. But the only way you're gonna progress is, to some degree, to have a common ground that we can go and move forward with, so we can make things better. And that's it.
Okay. Thank you to Frankie and Juju for your pod beans, and Frankie, your super chat. Frankie says all of you all have very good points. And everyone has had good points. We may not all agree. I know I did not agree with some of the things that were said. But again, I want to give people a platform where they can say it. I may not agree with everyone, and other people may not agree, but I want to give people the voice to speak. And I appreciate you guys by not interrupting, and allowing people that opportunity to say whatever they want to say. Having said that, now Chill was like, tomorrow, Thursdays are my fun show. So tomorrow is not going to be as heavy as it was Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Tomorrow, my fun shows, I still get a laugh over the show that I did on toilet paper. That show went almost 2 hours, and it is unbelievable what people think about toilet paper. But anyway, I am having a show on Friday night. I hope you guys tune in. It will be 7 p.m. Pacific time, and it is going to be possibly a deep show, but I want to do it because, again, the night crowd is a little different from the afternoon crowd. So, Bahram, if you can stay up that late, because I know it's probably about 2:00 in 2:00 a.m. in Scotland. So if you can stay up, that would be cool. I also would like to say again that Bahram and I are teaming up, and we are putting a show together. We've come up with a name. It is called Friendly Differences. And Bahram, I will let you talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, so we're planning to have our first episode done by the end of the month. It is going to be on freedom of speech, and we have a panel that we are going to, there's hopefully going to be 5 mainstays, and hopefully each show will have a different guest on to help us with that show. So I don't know if it's confirmed with the people, if I should say the names, but me, Solid Sister, Crucible Man, Shy Lady, and Will are going to be hopefully the 5. And I know not everyone's going to make it each time, but we have, everyone is welcome. If you feel you can contribute to these debate type shows, I'm certainly having to do my research and take notes on freedom of speech and what my views are on it. These shows will be done over Zoom, and then they will be pre-recorded, and then we'll post them out onto various platforms, YouTube, BitChute, and they'll also extract the audio for the people who like to just listen along, whether in the car or at work. We'll also have it as an audio podcast as well. So stay tuned for that, guys. We're really excited about it.
And also, I know when it comes to Zoom, a lot of people don't want to, show their face or whatever. You don't have to. You don't have to use your real name. I will be Solid Blue Sister on the show. Some people, from conversations I've had via email, whatever, you all know who I am, but for social media, it will be Solid Blue Sister. So if you don't feel comfortable, using your name or showing your face, you can put up another photo or whatever, but it is going to be round table. And, we want to have it where, we can just basically just talk, whatever. And, I'm really excited about it because, again, as you guys know, Bahram and I, we are on opposite sides, but we are able to have a discussion, without wanting to fight each other, and that's basically kind of what it is. It's like just have a round table and we can just talk. And Dooms, don't think you are getting away because you are going to get an invite because you are someone that we would like to come on. But the people that we've asked for a reason. So hopefully, you guys will be able to make it. If not, we understand, and we will have someone who will be an alternate. But for all of you, and to Shy Lady, Bob Ram has a lot of love for you. So, we're hoping that you're able to come on. So, Ba, do you want to say anything else?
Yeah, I think just to add, the concept that I think we're aiming for is something that can kind of, well, for instance, I thought tonight when we had a brainstorming session about doing a poll. So obviously the first topic is freedom of speech. Now, if we can think of a concept where we put out a poll maybe a week or two before the show, let's say the question is, are you pro free speech or against it? Or what percent or something like that, and we can read out the poll results before the show, and then after the debate is over, let's put the poll out again, and hopefully there is a change, because the whole concept of these shows that you do, that I have been so addicted to, is the fact that we realize that we're not as far apart as the media make us out. I think the extreme people are like the 1%. I don't know if that's a true statement, but like, we're actually not that far away. So if we can see any change in those poll results, or someone even changing their mind from their opening statement, because I want to keep it, debate tactics. Like, we have our opening statement on the subject, and then we go into the debate, and at the very end we have a conclusion, each person. And it would be really fascinating, and I have found this to be something that's captured me whenever I listen to a podcast. If I hear a debate and I've seen that someone has changed their mind from their initial viewpoint, it's really good, because I think it can teach people things, and yeah, I think that's the concept we're going for. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. And also, I want to say to Friday Kind of Guy, thank you for coming on. I'm looking at your comments, and you have made some comments that have given me some ideas for some shows, either on my show or the show that I'm going to do with Bahram. But just so you guys know, when you guys come on to my show, and when you guys come on to the show that for friendly differences, which I'm going to be doing with Bahram, it's all about respect. And again, I don't like shows where people are interrupting. You're talking over each other. You're trying to jump in as soon as someone stops talking. When everyone's interrupting each other, you don't hear what the other person is saying. And again, you may not agree with them, but at least you're listening to them. So, it's all about respect. So, and that's another reason, why you have the round table it's all about respect. And Chris Unplugged, like too chaotic. And I tend to end off signing. I mean, for me personally, I tend to end off signing off shows where everybody's yelling, screaming, and trying to, step on everyone just so they can get a word in. I mean, I want to hear everyone, no matter what side they're on or what you're talking about. I want to hear what everybody has to say. Will, I think you want to say something, or is he? Are you still on, Will? Did you want to say something? Okay, I guess not. All right, Shy Lady, did you want to say something? Because your mic is.
No, good
Okay.
conversation today. And Byram, no, I am not mad at you or anything. Not at all. I think a lot of what you say is very truthful. And I agree. A lot of these politicians are actors, and they've all said disparaging things against different groups. And I couldn't agree more that a lot of them are politicians, and it's all an act. And bottom line is, it's probably all about money. So, like most things.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for that. It's. I mean, I've been on this panel for a few weeks, months now, and even though we're on debating things with each other, we haven't really had a conversation. Me, Crucible Man, yourself, and when we're having these hard conversations at times, it is a worry that I the last thing I want to do is offend anyone, but ultimately we're all. That's what I love about this group is it's like we're all seeking truth, and the way Solid Blue asks her questions and follows them up with another question, I think it's so raw. It's almost childlike, and I think that's a great quality to have, is searching for the truth by asking those questions. And again, it's sometimes I feel like I'm always saying I don't want to trigger you. I don't want to do this. And that'll go with time. I just feel, I want to make myself clear and just know that I'm always, I love you guys. I want us all to be on the same page. And sometimes I'll say things that are deemed as, bad or whatever, but it's not for that reason. It's just to find the truth. So I appreciate you saying that, and you're definitely someone I respect, and all you guys are just great. So I'm looking forward to working with you and having these conversations.
Shy Lady, you want to have the last word on what Byram says before I wrap it up?
No, I think he's making valid points, and I really respect what he says. And like everybody else, I respect everyone's opinion because it's their opinion. You can't get mad at anyone about their opinion. So it's all.
Okay. Crucible Man, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, just to echo what Bahram said, I mean, I feel honored every time I'm able to participate in the show. I've been around Podbean now for maybe 5 or 6 months, and I've listened to dozens and dozens of shows, and this one is easily in the top 2 or 3 because of all the reasons everybody has talked about. So when you're seeking truth, and you also have a group of people that you respect and genuinely feel are kind of friends of yours, it changes the conversation completely and changes the complexion and the tone. And I'm really, really flattered that I'm able to participate with you guys because I have nothing but respect for your opinions, your intellect, your values, and I'm fortunate to be a part of the group.
Okay, and again, as I say, my show does not work without you, and I truly, just appreciate. I really appreciate the fact that you guys come on and you take time out of your day, because I know I'm in the middle of the afternoon. For me here in California, when I start, it's 1:00 p.m. And I never mean for my shows to go 2 hours, but here we are, but my show does not work without you. And I know that for the show that I'm going to do with Bob Ram is not going to work without the panel, that we would like to come on. So I truly I really do appreciate everyone. And I appreciate that everyone listens and takes the time. And even in chat, I am paying attention. I may not read everything that's in the chat, but I am paying attention to it. And even though there are disagreements in the chat, you all are respectful. And that's what it comes down for me. If you're respectful, we can listen to each other. So, on that note, tomorrow is my fun day. So, it's going to be a lot lighter than what we have had the last three days. I will be posting my topic for Friday night, probably later on this evening. But again, guys, thank you so much. As I say, speak your truth, go where the wind takes you, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye. Everyone on the panel, again, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Dooms, I'm going to get you on my panel one of these days. You are going to come on my panel. So you are. And Chris Unplugged, thank you for coming on. That's okay, Chris. I will be posting the show in a little bit. So Crucible, Chill, Bob, Shy Lady, thank you. Frankie, Juju, thank you for the pod things and the super chats. And for everyone, thank you for the likes. And Millicent, thank you for, I think this is your first time on, and thank you for hanging out. Thank you so much. That guy, Tullian, all of you, thank you. Crazy Lady, thank you. Angie, once again, we are signing off, but thanks for showing up. South Ozman, thank you. And Friday Kind of Guy, you gave me a topic. Thank you. Yeah, Angie, you did it again. Bye, Juju. I appreciate all of you. All right, y'all. We're ending. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.